Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Second Chance Live show. I was thinking story, and then I completely butchered that intro. Let's start over. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Second Chance Live show or the story, because we are going to be sharing a story with you today. I've got my new friend, which is kind of like an old friend. Hey, look, here's the reality. I was on social media one day and I was like, who's this posting after sports stuff about the fact that you don't have to not eat what you want to eat and all this stuff? And I just started following this person and she was making me feel good about my diet. And I was like, this is awesome, man. And so I started following Katie, who you see here on the screen. And she has some interesting takes on health and wellness. And I can't wait to share her story with you today. We're going to have some good conversation. And if you are tuning in on any other platform except for Facebook, I want you to click the share button. Oh, and if you are on Facebook, you can actually host a watch party. And that's better because it's like gathering everybody around the fireplace so that they can sit and listen in to this amazing conversation with me and Katie. I'm going to read her bio. And while I do that, I want you to feel 100% convicted to share because she's given her precious time and her expertise to you. And the best thing that you can do is share with others because we do this to help other people. So, you know what? Let's switch it up a little bit. I'm feeling froggy, and I tell people all the time, welcome to the randomness of my show. So I'm going to give you extra time today to invite others, and I'm going to play this promo video. Here we go.
Leave me alone. I just want to die. These are the words that I screamed in 2012 as I lay on a psychiatric unit following a recent suicide attempt. At that time in my life, I had just been kicked off the football team at Central Michigan University because of all the opioid pills I was taking to numb the pain I was experiencing from playing football after my back surgery. I didn't think my future had anything that would fulfill me like being an athlete once did. I didn't want to work a 9 to 5. I didn't want to get a master's degree. I didn't want to start a business. I just wanted to play sports, and I couldn't. I was tormented by the fact that something I had worked my entire life to achieve was now no longer an option. At that time, I had so many people around me that only liked me because I played sports, and I thought since I was no longer an athlete that no one would really care about me anymore. I figured since sports was over, that meant my life was over. Yet little did I know, my life was just beginning.
And so is yours. After earning her bachelor's degree in Human Nutrition and Dietetics from, hold on, oh my gosh.
I can say it if you need. I can say it.
Oh gosh. Okay. The Ohio State University. Oh my God. I feel like I'm getting nauseous saying that. Katie, how you say your last name?
Spada
went on to complete her dietetic internship through Henry Ford Hospital in Detroit, Michigan, which we were talking about before the show. And I've actually been to that hospital before. Shortly after completion of her internship, Katie sat for and passed her registered dietitian, credentialing boards, and began working at University Medical Center as a clinical dietitian. In her current role in the hospital, she works mostly with pediatric and neonatal populations. Boom, I feel so smart now. Additionally, she's a graduate student and master's degree candidate, which you're finishing up, right? Is that
Yeah, just a couple more classes.
Oh my gosh, how does that feel?
Amazing. Just submitted my major research paper and I'm like, whew.
Wow. And I want to talk a little bit about your research. And she's doing that through Northern University, which is a phenomenal university, working towards completion of her master's in nutrition with a concentration in none other than sports and fitness. Outside of her role as a nutritionist and an amazing social influencer, she is the founder of Spada Strong Nutrition LLC, a nutrition coaching business focused on helping former athletes with their nutrition in their life after sports. So y'all show the girl some love in the comments and tell her how amazing she is and thank her for coming on. Somebody saying congratulations. I see a couple of people joining on Facebook. I'm going to go share this, and I'm going to shut up now and let you talk. Tell people your journey through sports to where you are today.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Darryll, for having me. I just want to say how powerful your story is. And I love everything that you're doing. The former athlete community needs it so much. So thank you. I'm super excited to be here. And so a little bit about me, I was a competitive synchronized swimmer for 11 years. Before that, I did every sport under the sun: gymnastics, ice skating, horseback riding, speed swimming, basketball, did them all. Basketball wasn't my thing. Um, so I stuck with synchronized swimming, and I was fortunate enough to compete on 3 U.S. national teams, compete on the world stage, and then was recruited by The Ohio State University, which, yeah,
it doesn't feel better when you say it. I'm sorry.
That is okay. If it makes you feel any better, both my parents are Michigan State grads, and my dad actually played baseball for Michigan State.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not quite Central Michigan University, considering how we beat them.
Yes.
But it's cool.
It's an interesting household with the two. But so during my time as an athlete, I was completely focused on my sport. Everything I did was dedicated to my sport. At the age of 16, I even left home and moved to California to train with a team that could help me get to where I wanted to be. And through the sport of synchronized swimming, it's a pretty body-focused sport. You're in a swimsuit 24/7, and I didn't have the look that they wanted. I had the talent, I had the skill, but I didn't have the look. So I was constantly being told to go on a diet, lose weight, and it turned into some pretty unhealthy habits that continued with me into life after sport. Now I didn't have practice to burn off X amount of calories, and I didn't have weight training and all of this, and I had to figure it out, and my nutrition just started to spiral. I knew that there had to be a better way, and so I did decide to study nutrition in college, and that was how I ended up in the dietetics program, becoming a registered dietitian. But one thing I always say is that knowledge doesn't always equal action. You can have the knowledge, but it doesn't always turn into how you live your day-to-day life. And so I found this incredible thing called intuitive eating through my social media platform, and had a lot of teammates reaching out to me and needing help because they were struggling with their body image and nutrition in life after sport. And Spada Strong Nutrition LLC was born.
I love it, man. And talk to me about, what you've experienced from your clients, or, where do you really want to take your nutrition practice from the LLC perspective?
Well, I would love to be able to travel around post-COVID to universities and just chat with their juniors and seniors who are getting ready to retire, because I don't think we are prepared for the physical changes that happen when we retire. And those turn into mental challenges. And like you said in your video, all you wanted to do was play sports. And for so many of us, that's what we want to do. And retirement comes when our body starts to change. When we lose the structure, it impacts everything. It impacts the way we view ourselves, our worth, how we interact with people. So many of my clients come to me feeling so uncomfortable in their own skin. That's why they start dieting, because they're trying to find worth again. And it just spirals. So some of my favorite taglines are, first of all, it's normal for your body to change in retirement. The second thing is it should be performance over appearance. And I really wanted to stress that. If I could have one tagline, I think that would be it.
But I want my 6-pack.
I totally understand. I totally get that, because, what do we think of when we think of the most high-level athlete? We think of, a 6-pack. And if
which I have, by the way, it's buried beneath a couple of other abs.
Everyone technically has a 6-pack.
See? I mean, why are we even here, man? I mean, end of episode, I've already got what I've set out to get, which is this 6-pack bag.
Yep.
What do you think is one of the greatest challenges you see people struggle with? I mean, you mentioned this battle between wanting to have the appearance of looking in amazing physical shape.
Mhm.
But what other challenges do you see people face when it comes to living an overall just optimal health and wellness lifestyle?
I think it's a lot of guilt. I see a lot of guilt because we have so many messages in the media, maybe from our sport, saying that if you eat X, Y, and Z, you're bad. If you eat this and that, you're being unhealthy. And it creates so much guilt and stress around food. And we get this idea that one slice of pizza, one piece of cake, one cookie is going to completely devastate us. And
Mm,
so oftentimes when you're restricting, binge episodes will be the result out of just survival necessity for more calories. That's how your body usually works. And the guilt and the feeling of failure is just so overwhelming. It's hard to bear.
yeah, yeah. I'm I'm not distracted. I'm looking at your social media right now, and I want to ask you about one of your posts that you did.
Let's go.
Um, and it's this one. It says, "I don't know who needs to hear this, but if eating healthy is stressing you out, it's not actually healthy.
Mhm.
Eating should be nourishing and enjoyable, not stressful."
Yes.
And if I had my bell, I would ring it for you. But that's good stuff.
Thank you.
Talk about that, because I know a lot of people, and even myself included, when we know that nutrition is so important and we start eating healthy, there's always this negative energy, like, oh my god, I gotta eat vegetables and broccoli, and you're saying that that's not healthy. Talk about that.
Yeah, so we know just based on science and research that one of the main causes of chronic health issues is stress. And so if you're sitting there thinking like, "Oh, well, I just really want that cookie, but I need to eat the broccoli." And so then you eat the broccoli and the cookie's staring at you all day. You're so stressed about it because you can't have it. Then you go ahead and have the cookie. Now you feel guilty about it. There's
Mhm.
actually physiological things happening when we're stressed.
Yeah.
Um, and so, when you're eating and it's stressing you out, you're creating so many potential
Mhm.
health problems with the stress.
Yeah.
One thing I always focus on with my clients is the why, behind your food choices. I
Hmm.
say, I care less about what you eat, and I care more about why you're eating it. So, why are you eating the broccoli? Because you think you need to, because you think it's good for you. Well, what if you have, Crohn's or IBS or something? Broccoli's not going to be good for you. Why are you picking the salad? Because you want something light and enjoyable and it's a beautiful summer day. Okay, great. Are you picking it because you don't think you can have the burger because it's bad for you and now you're stressed out? It comes down to it's actually a lot more mindset than it is the physical food.
Hmm.
And yes, you will not find a dietitian who negates the fact that nutrition is so important and fueling our bodies with the proper nutrients and adequate energy is necessary. But I do think that we can do that without having to stress out about every food choice we make.
Hmm. That's a good point, man. And that's such a hard distinction. And a lot of and correct me if I'm wrong, but is that where kind of the philosophy around like intuitive eating comes from?
Yeah. So intuitive eating, it's actually research based. There's over 100 studies to support it. And it's a 10-pillar foundation. There's 10 guiding principles that help you change your mindset around food so you can make food choices in a stress free way. And it often gets tagged as the eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full, eat whatever you want diet, if you will. But what they often forget is pillar 10 is gentle nutrition. And that's thinking about, how are these foods going to fuel and nourish my body? Yes, it's about the physical health, but sometimes we got to think about the mental health too.
Mm,
And so I'm a big proponent of the intuitive eating principles and incorporating them into our day to day.
mm. So important. Man, I feel like I'm learning so much. I see Bobby saying, "What do you think about the blue zones? They all seem to have low stress lifestyles and eat the food that is available, usually a lot of vegetables and a little meat."
It's so funny you mentioned that because I just watched that Zac Efron show on Netflix where he goes around and he went to one of the blue zones in Italy, and I remember this episode because I'm Italian, and so I was like, oh, but yes, it's very low stress. If you notice, they all are very low stress. It's a slower lifestyle, and it is often a lot of fruits and a lot of vegetables and meats, but they're also including high quality carbs as well. Especially in Italy, they're having pasta and bread and in a lot of like Asian countries, there's more rice. And so I think here we get bogged down with thinking just eating like lean protein and vegetables is the way to go. But we do need to incorporate whole grains and fruits and keeping carbs in the mix as well. I would love to see more research on the blue zones and the actual nutrition about it. We know that they have low stress, and that's why I say if your nutrition is stressing you out, we're not really doing much for our health.
Yeah, that's a good point. And stress plays such a huge factor. There's a couple of there's two directions. I'm kind of like playing a tug of war in my head around if I want to go back and circle around the sports route, because I find synchronized swimming to be amazing. One of our volunteer staff members, Sydney, is from the University of Miami. Forgive her for that, but she was a swimmer, and I'd always joke and I tell her that it's not a real sport. But I do think that synchronized swimming is amazing. So I kind of want to go that route, but I just know that there's the holidays coming up, and this is the time where a lot of people take step backwards. And I saw one of your posts, I don't know when it was, probably Thanksgiving time, about like eat like you normally do, work out like you normally do. Like, what is your tips for people who know the holidays are approaching and there's a corporate party for everything and they don't want to like gain 17 pounds like I did on Thanksgiving break?
What often happens is, again, it comes down to the mindset, because we think, well, I can only have these foods now because it's the holidays and never again. And when you give yourself unconditional permission to think, well, I can have pecan pie or pecan, however you say it, in July if I really want to.
I'm from the north. We say pecan, man.
Okay.
It's only them southern folks that don't say it correctly.
All right. Do I get a couple more brownie points, even though I went to, that school down south?
We're not going to talk about that. I'm still constantly in denial.
That's fair. People are still like, you were from Michigan. I'm like, I know. But we put these restrictions on food thinking we can only have them during the holidays. Like, I can only have peppermint during Christmas. I can only eat cookies during Christmas. And then you get this Last Supper mentality where if I don't eat it now, I can never have it again. And so you often end up overeating. We also associate one day of eating with drastic health differences, and that's just not how the human body works. And so if you're eating normal, you're eating your usual, day-to-day eats, you're exercising your normal day-to-day regimen, and you overeat at dinner, at Christmas dinner, or you have a couple extra cookies, that's not going to impact you like a week of eating all the cookies because you think I can only eat them between December 20th and December 25th, and then that's it, would do to your health. I actually didn't, I had a small slice of pie on Thanksgiving and I almost didn't even have any because I just didn't feel like it. And that's kind of what intuitive eating allows you to do. It allows you to assess, do I actually want this, without the stress of thinking I can never have it again.
That's good. Another fat diet. I don't want to say fat diet. I know a lot of people that have benefited from this, but now you're saying, is keto right for anyone?
So you're right. A lot of people benefit from keto, but is it long-term? Is it sustainable? The only people, based on the science, that we know will fully benefit from a keto diet are children with epilepsy. Fun fact, I am a pediatric dietitian as well. And the keto diet was designed for kids with epilepsy because their brains are constantly firing. And the way their brains fire is with carbs. And so we think if we remove what's going to help the brain fire, they'll have seizures. I don't know about you, but I want my brain to keep firing as much as possible. Maybe you've heard of keto fog. That's because your brain functions best on carbs. It has to work really hard to turn fat into usable energy. And so weight loss is usually pretty rapid. They might be able to keep it off for a while, but when you do reintroduce carbs back in, it's often hard to maintain that.
Wow. So this is a good segue into your group coaching program. I know you said you're launching another one here soon. Talk to us about that and what's included and what can people expect and how can they find out about it?
Yeah, so my group coaching is one of my signature offers. It's called the Power Program, and it's a 12-week small group coaching program for former athletes that focuses on debunking a lot of these nutrition myths, about different fad diets and helping you transition your nutrition in life after sport. So you can go from struggling to make a food decision to having complete and total confidence and clarity when it comes to each meal and snack and knowing what's best for you and your retired athlete body. We talk a lot about body image. We talk a lot about, how to optimize meals, understanding hunger fullness, because as athletes, we tend to ignore our bodies.
Just burn it off, baby. Just burn
Exactly.
it off. Yeah.
And we just push through too. And so sometimes it takes time to reconnect with what your body needs. And so it's 12 weeks. We do weekly Zoom calls. You also get one-to-one calls with me. It's a group of supportive former athletes. And you've got private Slack channels and weekly put it into play, which is what I like to call kind of like our action items to help you start to create this to be your everyday life. So yeah, that's the Power Program. We start in January. So start 2021 without a new diet, but with actually sustainable changes that'll support your health for life.
Wow. Love that. And guys, make sure you go check out that program. Personal question, since I'm talking to a dietitian here.
Yeah.
So I have this really bad habit. Maybe it's not bad. Of this, there's this hibachi place that's up the street from me. It's literally like 2 minutes, and they have great prices, but it's probably one of the best hibachi food places that I've ever eaten at.
So good.
And I can't stop eating it. And I need help because we're going broke. and literally, I knew it was bad when my wife and I went for our anniversary, and he literally said, "We'll see you tomorrow." And it was like, but he probably will though. And it was so bad. Help, Kate. Help.
So my first question would be probably not, but can you recreate something at home? Can you do something fun with your wife, like create a hibachi experience at home? There's nothing wrong with going to hibachi, but it sounds like it's more of a wallet concern than,
no, it's definitely a health concern. I mean, we're really not going broke.
No,
but no, real talk. Like I probably put on like 10 pounds because of the hibachi thing,
So when you go to hibachi, when you're sitting there this is actually something I would do with clients often, is like when you're there, what are you thinking about? Are you actually enjoying the meal? Are you mindfully engaging with every bite? Do you know that you can come back tomorrow if you want, so you don't have to eat everything right now? You could also take a to-go box, and what is the impact of eating past your level of fullness, that comfort level?
I'm going to answer these questions, and we're going to see if you can help me live, and then maybe more people will join your group coaching program. I get free coaching. Yes. I'm going to just start interviewing people who can coach me.
It's brilliant.
Okay, here's what's going through my mind. This is about to be so amazing. I remember how it tastes last time. I want to taste it again. He better not give me that ginger sauce. I want double yum yum. And every time I taste it, it's so amazing. And I do have the thought of like, I can come back to this, but I never want to. In fact, more times than not, I want more. And that's my thought process.
Okay. If you had to view this hibachi dinner as like good or bad or healthy or unhealthy, like how would you view it?
Extremely amazing. But I will say that if there is an ounce of bad coming from it, it's probably emotional eating.
Okay.
And it's not like every time I get stressed, I eat hibachi, but I sure do think about it. But it is like I remember usually I eat it on my Fridays. I call it Hibachi Friday.
Yeah.
And that's usually my off days.
Okay.
And that's usually when I'm decompressing and like don't deal with life. And so to me, it's like I've equated that with de-stress, which is probably not a good conclusion.
Well, it almost also sounds like it's not necessarily a reward, but kind of like, oh, okay, it's my off day. It's like time to relax. So like I'm allowed to go ahead and enjoy this when you could technically have it any day you wanted. The other thing, you mentioned emotional eating. I think we have this misconception that emotional eating is bad. The reality is food is emotional. It does provide comfort, connection, love, culture, tradition, all of these things. It's when it's our only coping mechanism that we run into a problem. So is hibachi your only coping mechanism on your day off? If that's the case, well, let's explore some ways that we can create other coping mechanisms so you can still enjoy your hibachi without it kind of being the only thing you're looking forward to on Fridays, if that makes sense.
So I just want to get this on the record that you're telling me that I can eat hibachi any day that I like. All right,
Right?
Brittany. If the dietitian says I can eat it whenever I want, I mean, I can eat it whenever I want. No, this is good advice. I love it. Man, talk to me a little bit, and I know we're kind of going backwards here, but I know there's going to be some former athletes watching this that really are interested in that a little bit more in that transition piece. Was that hard for you? Do you consider yourself still an athlete? Like, how was that transition like for you?
Yeah, that transition was so hard. And I think for me, it was a little different because I was so burned out. I was ready to retire. I thought, oh, well, I'm ready to retire. I'm ready to walk away. This will be easy transition. But it wasn't. I still really struggled with, what do I identify myself as? And then as my body started to change and I no longer, quote unquote, looked like an athlete, I was like, I don't even know like who I am or what I'm doing. I often thought that like I had no purpose in what I was doing. And that was really challenging. And so I did turn to dieting and working out. And well, if I can look like an athlete again, then I will have some sort of worth. I do still consider myself an athlete, and I think all of us will. What I say is we have our athlete identity and so many pieces and characteristics of it that can help us in life after sport. We just need to identify the ones that are hindering us and use them, reshift or reframe our mindset around them so they can be ones to help us too.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to disconnect from being an athlete to be successful in life after sport. I think you just need to know how to use your athlete identity for your benefit.
That's good. That's a really good point. Sweet. And what would you, do you, because synchronized swim is like a really, like, it's not like you can just hop in the YMCA pool and just like start synchronized swimming, you could, but like, dang, so do you ever have a chance to get into that, or is it just something that's like going with the past?
It's a little bit in the past. I was lucky enough to teach a couple of swim lessons, and my parents have a pool in their backyard, and so I hop in there every once in a while. But like I said, I burned out pretty hard, and that kind of continued with synchro. Unfortunately, my relationship with food and body image because of my sport kind of left a view of the sport overall, and that's been something that's been hard too. So many athletes look back on their careers with such fond memories. And while I have plenty of fond memories that I'm really appreciative of, there was a lot of struggle and challenge too. And so it makes it a little bit hard to look back.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a process. I think that there's definitely, like you said, some fond memories, but there's some painful ones too. And, you remember, your mindset during the time, and it's a learning process for all of us. But man, you seem like you transitioned really well.
Thank you.
And I appreciate the work that you're doing. There's really two kind of final questions I have for you. One, I want to talk a little bit about your work as a pediatrician. I know that health and nutrition is so important for our children, and I have 3 daughters, and they don't want to eat anything other than chicken nuggets and French fries. And so I'd love to hear your thoughts on how can we integrate healthy practices for our children.
Great question. So with kiddos, it's really normal for them to go through what's called food jags, where they just eat certain things. I'm a big proponent of the division of responsibility. And what that says is that the parents make the meals, they provide them to the kids, and then it's up to the kids to decide what they want to eat. So maybe that's chicken nuggets with fries and you're adding in some carrots. If you only touch the chicken nuggets and fries, that's fine. But you continue to serve the carrots. They continue to get exposure to those foods. And you would be surprised how quickly, I say quickly relative term, because each kid's different, they'll start to incorporate those foods again. One thing that, parents just want the best for their kids. And so often I see that in the form of kind of monitoring or dictating what kids are eating. And kids are probably the best intuitive eaters. So it's the responsibility of the parents to make the meals, provide them to the kids, and then it's the kids' job to decide how much they want to eat and what they want to eat.
Mm.
Um, and one of the other things is actually including dessert in the meal. And dessert's not a reward for eating, it's a part of the meal itself. And so you don't get this idea of, well, if I finish everything on my plate, then I can earn ice cream. I'm good. And so I can only get whatever if I'm good.
That's a good point.
Yeah. And so I don't have kids myself yet, but when I chat, I want to eventually. But when I chat with all of my parents who are struggling with picky eaters or kiddos that don't want to have veggies or whatever it might be, I really recommend this division of responsibility. Give it a try for a while, see how it works. And then there are also some incredible dietitians that specialize in this. Kids Eat in Color. I'm going to give her a shout out. If you haven't, give her a follow, or have your wife give her a follow. She provides such great advice so that kids are eating nutritious meals, and they can grow up to continue to eat nutritious meals without the stress of, oh, well, I was never served this as a kid. Oftentimes I have clients saying, well, I wasn't allowed chips in the house. I wasn't allowed this in the house. And it almost creates this need to binge when it does come around. So including all foods, fruits, veggies, whole grains, lean proteins, dairy, and then the sweets as well.
What's your thoughts on plant-based? Oh, great job. Look at the Instagram. They got them teams on it. Plant-based diet. There's kind of this rising tide that I see, even like some current athletes who are professionals that are going all plant-based. What's your thoughts on plant-based diet? And do you suggest?
So first we need to clarify the difference between plant-based, vegetarian, and vegan.
Yeah.
So vegan is no animal products at all. Vegetarian, there's a couple different ones. You can include eggs or milk if you're ovo-lacto, whatever it might be. But plant-based itself just means eating mostly plants. That doesn't mean cutting out meat or cutting out dairy or anything like that. It's where the majority of your food is coming from plants. And I would consider myself plant-based actually, because most of my meals are going to be fruits and veggies. Maybe, I love eating like beans or pastas that are made from like chickpeas and, different things like that.
Chicken, steak.
I love it too. I love it too. But you can eat, I think that's the misconception. You can eat chicken, meat, fish, pork, eggs, whatever it is, and still be considered plant-based, because that's just prioritizing fruits and veggies and plant-based foods. I'm a big proponent because we know that, and this is where the gentle nutrition piece comes in. We know that fruits and veggies have so many benefits, anti-inflammatory effects, antioxidants, they help support immune system. And so putting a priority there can be really beneficial. I know there's a big story. Justin Fields went vegan over the summer, and, he improved his performance. And I think it comes down to what's going to work best for you and your lifestyle. If giving up meat is not something that bothers you and you never really enjoyed it anyways, great. Maybe vegetarian or vegan is the way for you. Vegan, there's also an ethical component. And so it comes down to the why behind why are you choosing to eat that way. But everyone can include more fruits and veggies and plant-based foods without having to go, to the extreme, to the level of vegan or vegetarian. Good question. So hopefully that explains the difference. If you see plant-based or, a lot of nutrition media or a lot of nutrition marketing is targeted to get the consumer to think it's a better choice. When it may not be better, it's probably just different.
Really good. My final direction that I wanted to ask you about, and it's funny because it's still kind of the same topic, but you've got this scripture on your Instagram bio.
Yeah.
That's about food. I'd love for you to talk about that, and even if you feel free just to share like your faith. How did you develop it? Were you always in the faith realm or not? And I'd love for you just to share that part of your story.
Yeah, so the verse is Ecclesiastes 9:7, and I love it. So go ahead and eat your food and drink your wine, for God approves of this. Go ahead and eat your food and drink your wine with joy, for God approves of this, because eating and fueling our bodies should be something joyful. And so I was raised in a house that, Jesus was talked about often. Christ was a big part of our life, but I didn't fully accept it until I went to college and was a part of an incredible organization called Athletes in Action. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I love Athletes in Action. I feel super blessed to have been a part of that. And so, one of my biggest things was my faith helped me overcome my food rules and my bad body image days, and just a lot of the struggles. Like I said, I struggled with finding purpose when I retired. And so, coming back to, well, I know that God has a purpose for my life. And now I can look back and see all of the pain that I went through. And I'm sure you can resonate with this more than anyone. But the pain I went through sitting on the floor, bawling my eyes out, looking in the mirror and just hating what I saw, all of that pain was there for a purpose, so that I can say to all of my clients, I know exactly where you're at, because there would be so much less of an ability for me to connect if I couldn't personally have experienced that as well. And so my faith has really been a cornerstone in everything I do. It's one of the reasons I started this business. I had no desire to be an entrepreneur, actually. And I always say, like, God knew, but God knew. He knew that this was going to be the plan for me. Without my faith, I don't think I would have made it all 4 years in sport in college. I probably would have given up, and I would have regretted that. And it's what drives every decision I make. And so I love that verse, and I love sharing that with all of my clients. And I'm fortunate so many of them are women of faith and men of faith, so that we can chat about how God wants us to nourish our bodies well. He wants us to look in the mirror and feel confident about what we see, no
Mm.
matter what stage of the journey we're in. So yeah, my faith is really important to me, and I love that verse so much.
Awesome. Awesome. And thank you for sharing that. And I wholeheartedly agree with you. I feel like I'm like a politician right now. My name is Darryll Stinson, and I endorse this message. Man, this has been a really informative conversation. I'm impressed by your expertise,
Thank you.
and you're very well spoken. And
Thank
you make me want to study nutrition more, because I feel completely dumb. And there's a couple of things that you said I had no clue what you were talking about, but I just kept letting you roll because I did not want to embarrass myself. So
Oh, send me a message. Happy to share anything that I said.
but really good stuff, and so practical as well. And man, I know that I even see Sean's on here, K Fit Fitness. He's got amazing fitness practice, works with a lot of athletes and people in general. I even see on his Instagram he trains kids and stuff, and just a
Awesome.
really interesting conversation. I know we need more people like you who are helping us just like eat healthy the right way and live healthy the right way, in a way that has a positive energy to it and not a negative begrudging energy to it. So thank you for all that you do. You mentioned something about purpose, and I'd like to throw a shameless plug out there that if you're an athlete, former athlete, and you're watching this and you're like, man, I don't know what's next, or I haven't fell in love with something like I was in love with sports, I want you to check out our book. It's a new release. It's called Who Am I After Sports? An Athlete's Roadmap to Discover New Purpose and Live Fulfilled. This book is going to help you discover your new identity, find your highest purpose, and really build your dreams. And it is the same process that helped me go from suicide to success. It's the foundation of our coaching program at Second Chance Athletes. And it's all there in the book for you, $15. And the best news about that is that I have yet to take down the bonuses. So if you go to secondchanceathletes.com, you click on book and you order the book and you put in the code that you purchase it with, you get access to hundreds of dollars worth of bonuses. You get access to the interviews like we are doing right now with all of the experts. You get access to an exclusive interview between me and the co-founder of Sports One Marketing and top business coach, one of the top business coaches in the world. His name is David Meltzer. And man, I follow him. He does a ton of lives. I think our interview was the best. And I'm not just saying that because I did it. It was that fire. He brought the fire. And so you guys get exclusive access to that. You get early access to my Purpose Made Profitable course, which will tell you how to find your highest purpose and then make a profit out of it. Do you know you can actually be happy doing what you love? And last but not least, you get an access to the PDF or the ebook version. So you don't have to wait while Amazon gets their life together and ship it to you. So go ahead and head over to secondchanceathletes.com and order the book. And one more commercial too. And I don't promote this on every episode, but it's something that I'm getting ready to launch and I've been talking behind the scenes. So you guys are going to be the first one to publicly hear about this. But I am becoming increasingly passionate about helping raise up the next generation of speakers. So much so that I'm launching a new beta group program called the Next Up Speaker. It is a 3-month group coaching program where we will walk you through how to identify your signature talk that aligns with your highest purpose, how to land a TEDx stage, and trust me, I know the process. I've done 2 of them now, and we'll do another one in 2021, how to get paid 6 figures to be a speaker and spread your message. Now listen, I'm looking for a specific type of people. This is not one come all. It is an application process. I'm looking for mission, heart-centered speakers. So if you know you have a story to share, a process that can help people, if you're in it for the right reasons, don't let the 6-figure marketing ploy pull you in. Let the mission-centered call pull you in. And shoot me a direct message, and I'll shoot you the application. And if you're a good fit, we'll hop on the phone and we'll talk about next steps. I'm looking for about 10 to 15 people so that I can work closely with you and help you to achieve the results that I know are possible for you and your message. So go ahead and reach out to me. You can join my text community, 770-407-5177. Katie, it's been amazing. You've done a phenomenal job. Any last thoughts that you want to leave us with?
I think, like I said, my main tagline, performance over appearance. And I think that should be everyone in every space, whether it's sport or not, and that you deserve to enjoy eating and feel good in your skin, and you can have both. And I just want to thank you again, Darryll, for having me and for the work that you're doing. It's so incredible and your story is so powerful. So thank you for sharing it with us.
My pleasure. You guys show her some love in the comments. Say thank you, thank you, thank you. If you're watching this replay, share, go hit her up on Instagram, go to her website, visit her. If you like her, if you like, that's some good advice. I need some coaching. If you want to start off 2021 with a health plan that is really a lifestyle that's not forced, but it's natural and it helps you to achieve your health and wellness goals, connect with the girl. I wouldn't have brought her on if I didn't believe in what she does, and follow her on social media because she gives a ton of tips away. So that's all we've got. Until next time, remember that your best days are in front of you and they're never behind you. Peace.
Thank you.